Hello, I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
This is NTVN, New Tech Vintage Nerds. Today we're going to talk about standing desks. That's why we're standing.
Woohoo! Roll that intro.
So, before we're going to talk about standing desks, let's see, printing or automation. You got 20 seconds to think either one of them. What did you print this week?
My 20 seconds aren't up yet. Are they?
Okay, well, I'm going to start first. I printed something, and I'm not sure for the listener it's hard to see, but
For the viewer, it's hard to see as well.
okay, well, I printed Groot. I am Groot.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, in glow-in-the-dark filament on a black background.
Okay, nice.
It's very nice. I got some glow-in-the-dark PLA on my birthday, so it's well appreciated and it's very useful.
Very nice. Looks good.
So, no, thanks. And for the rest, Gridfinity, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to be very boring and say, yeah, it was mostly Griffinity. And I'm looking at my multi-board wall, some multi-board stuff. Also, I just came to the conclusion that in my kitchen I have a pair of kitchen scissors which I bought through some kind of Kickstarter thing, and they're wonderful, but they do not fit in the drawers, so they are always on the countertop. Meaning that if you're trying to clean the countertop, you end up having those scissors in your hands 12 times. Which is quite annoying.
Yeah.
So I just came to the conclusion, you know what, I'm going to print a couple of hooks to just glue them to the wall, to the tile, backsplash, and then hook them up so they are off of the countertop and out of your way. But I still have to design those. So.
Oh, okay.
But it'll probably be fairly straightforward. It's a bar with two hooks and that's it.
Yeah.
And then some adhesive tape, glue it to the backsplash. So yeah, that's it probably. But I'll still have to do that. I'll do that after recording, I guess.
Okay. Cool.
And other than that, like I said, a lot of Gridfinity, a lot of multi-boards, and that was basically it, I think. Yeah.
I thought of something that I did print as well. Something for my metal chest. Well, not chest, closet thingy.
Display thingy.
Display thingy, yeah. I did a run on Sunday where I got a new medal for not being the slowest one. You had to come in in a certain time, and I came in before that. So
good job.
Thank you. I print for all the medals. I want to print something like this or something equal. When I get a lot more, not
it's
if.
It's a bit
when.
difficult to see, but I guess it's a stand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My headphone doesn't reach that far, but it's a nice stand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For those for those viewing and not only listening, I'm trying to show it. It's a thingy where the metal.
Groningen.
Yeah. And then it's actually
good luck
that way.
Pronouncing that when you're not Dutch.
Yeah. Groningen. So it's a
nice.
a bit of base where you can show your metal.
Yeah. Looking good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still tired.
Looking good and nice achievement as well.
Yeah, I have to. My goal is next year to run a marathon. So
you don't have to, but it's something that you set out to do.
I want to do a marathon to prove myself I can do it.
It's not a must, it's a wanna have.
Yep.
Exactly.
And now I'm telling people, so now I have to for the people I told. So it's not only my thing anymore.
Well, not really. I mean, if you say, I finally came to my senses, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, well, I know
Fine with
you.
me.
I know you. You're probably going to hold me on that. So,
Possibly.
yeah.
Possibly.
Anyway, printing. So we said in the intro, standing desk. We're both standing.
Yes. I recently purchased mine. You already had yours.
Yeah.
So we're talking about standing desks and, well, the use or nonsense about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people say that sitting is the new smoking. I don't know. I don't agree, but I can relate. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. I think being in the same position for long stretches of time is a killer, just like smoking. And that's something that I want to talk about on later, because it's nice that you can stand and do your work, but if you're in the same position, what did change actually? Uh, what's the difference between sitting?
Well, yeah. First of all, well, the human body is works better when standing.
Yeah, we're no physicians, but
No physician. Well, obviously, I'm not a physician. I have no clue what I'm talking about, and that goes for a lot of subjects. Anyway, but generally, what I did notice, and this is just an observation from myself, is that when I'm talking on remote sessions, which I do a lot of the time, because well, we are, as you know, and as you also are, remote workers.
yep.
So meaning that the office I'm in is also the office I work out of almost 5 days a week, not always, but a lot of the time. And that means that I'm in a lot of Zoom sessions, WebEx, Teams,
Huddles.
huddles, Hangouts, whatever. And you're depending on the session, it's very nice to stand, and because your posture changes, but also the way that you talk and move and how you interact with the audience on the other end.
Yep.
So that is not a BS story. That is actually true. So when you stand, you present and you talk in a different way than when you sit. And I personally, and this is definitely personally, I find it much more convenient and much more convincing when I'm doing a presentation or when I'm in a conversation with someone. When I'm standing, I find that more convenient.
Yeah, it's more dynamic. You use your whole body instead of just the top of your
It
body.
feels exactly. It feels more natural.
I
So
I gotta kill my audio quickly because people keep annoying. No, well, not annoying,
I don't know.
disturbing.
Disturbing. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So what I also noticed is that I don't know about you, but actually there's more than one position that I'm using. So it's not just sit and stand. Um, I've got a different. I'm now presenting, meaning that if I would be typing right now, that my desk would be too high for that.
Yep.
I can write something down. That's no problem. I've got a notebook here. But what I'm would I be productive? So would I want to create a PowerPoint presentation or type emails or whatever? Then my desk would be lower.
Yeah.
Same goes for when you sit. Right, I've got a stool and a chair. When I'm on the stool, the desk is higher than when I'm in the chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the same. When I do a presentation, I almost always do my presentation standing because it's I can use my whole body, even though people don't see everything of my body. It's a more natural feel, like you're on a podium or in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
So it's more natural. When I sit down doing a presentation, it's almost like something is keeping me from giving everything I have to the audience. So it's like now it's more dynamic. It's more you
When you're
but
sitting down, it feels like you're holding back.
yeah, exactly.
And
And
it's strange,
sometimes
but
it's good.
it's probably a mental thing. But when you're standing, it feels like you are more convincing, or you are more into the conversation, or I don't know. It's
Yeah.
something like that. So it definitely is an enrichment of my home office life. Having said that, I had an electric desk before, but that was just for adjusting the seat height. It was not able to go up high enough, so it would be a standing desk, and it was broken
Mm,
for quite a long time, so it wouldn't do anything at all anyway. So I bought a new desk, and I do have to admit that it took me, first of all, it took me a while to get over the pricing of the standing desk, because if you go to I don't know, IKEA or something, then you get a desk for under €100, right? They've
yeah.
got a gaming desk that is just uh, um, a wooden plank on top of two drawer cabinets, and that's the gaming desk, right? I
No.
think it's even under €100 or under $100. I don't know. But if you go for an actual standing desk, even IKEA is, well, not very cheap though. I think they think about 350, €400 ish, something like that. The,
Hmm.
the the very small ones. They just allow for a single monitor and a keyboard and a mouse.
No.
And if you are a bit broader, then your mouse falls down, uh, because the table is only, I think, a 1 meter 40 or something. Um, but I actually bought a very, and I'm not sponsored in any way. I actually bought a four-legged version from Flexispot,
Mm,
and I did quite a bit of research on that. First of all, why did I buy a four-legged one? Well, because of the stability. So this thing, literally, it's now for me in the highest position, but it can still go further up another. I don't know. I think another 20 centimeters or so.
mhm.
Um,
But
it
it
is
doesn't
still.
rock.
It does not rock, not to the side and not front to back. It is very, very stable,
Guess how
and
many
I
legs
love it.
mine. Guess how many leg mine have.
I don't know. This is what mine moves.
Oh well, mine moves like a meter diagonally. So it's no, mine is one with two legs. And I must admit, I'm not sure if there were any available when I purchased this one. It was the best I could find at that time within my budget, and I believe it was like 600-700 euros.
So I have to admit that I did get a discount on this one because it was some kind of sale. So not because I'm a famous YouTuber, because I'm not. Uh, um, and in the end, I think it was about including the desktop, which is sold separately officially. So the legs and the desktop together were about roughly €900. So it is quite the investment, and I think the regular price is even over 1,000.
Hmm.
You do have the choice of desktop, so you can go for anything between wood and MDF. So they have MDF, HDF, bamboo, um, and actual wood. So the actual wood is by far the nicest, but
Yeah,
also by far the most expensive.
it's a bit
Um,
pricey.
yeah, I really, really love the wooden desktop. but that would have made this desk almost $2,000.
Wow.
So that was not in my budget. So I decided to not go for that, and I bought the hardened bamboo desktop, which has advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is it's very hard, so it's very tough to in very durable. But because it's very hard, it also scratches very quickly on the surface. And I already have quite a few scratches just from my keyboard sliding forwards and backwards
Yeah, okay.
on the Surface Top. So would I buy it again? I don't know. I do not regret it because, first of all, it's a very nice color. It's very dark brown, almost. Yeah, very very dark brown. And I've got I decided to go with white legs, so the contrast is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's very sturdy and it can lift over 300 kilograms.
Okay.
So we can both sit on it, and we would still have room for my wife to join us, and
Wow.
then it would still go up. Do I really need that amount of weight? Well, I do have two very large monitors on it. There are two laptops on it. There are two very big speakers on it. I don't know. I've never actually calculated the actual weight, but I think it's more than 100 kilos. So
Yeah.
I think that it's a good choice to go for the bit more sturdy and tougher one.
Yeah.
Then again, as my wife noticed the desk and used it a couple of times going up and down and such, and having also a standing desk on her work at her work, she has now found it in her good graces to also want one.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be buying a second one anytime soon.
Yeah. The same happened here. I bought mine, I think 4 or 5 years ago. I went a different route. I purchased the legs separately from the top, and it's a kitchen countertop from black walnut from the IKEA. So it's 180 by 60 centimeters. But then it's black walnut. Well, black walnut veneer, obviously, because black walnut on a countertop or even in your desk, it's a bit pricey.
If it would be actual walnut wood, yeah, that would definitely be in the thousands of euros.
Yeah, but the top veneer is really regular walnut wood, so it's a nice finish. I can oil it, and when my wife saw it, and she was starting to work from home, she also wanted first a standing desk. And what else we were going to do? Only a standing desk is okay. So it's a really good choice, I believe, to do something like that, the standing desk.
Yes, I totally agree. So I'm very happy with it. Where did you buy the legs and frame?
I bought it on the internet. I believe it was a Monster, but I'm not sure. It was a brand that also sells USB cables, so it probably is Monster. But I chose the two-legged version because I'm not that rich. Well, anyway, then. So I purchased
the priority. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, I purchased the camera, so well, sue me. No, I purchased the 2-1, and I must admit that when I could or when I need to replace this one, it's going to be a 4-legged version because I have my studio monitors, speakers on my desk with stands with a clamp. I got my monitor on an arm, and all that weight is on the back side of my desk, so the motors have a uneven pull on the desk, and you can hear that when I do my desk up or down. It makes a lot of noise,
Yeah,
and I
so
can
a lot of the weight is attached to the back, so the
yeah
legs on the back, well, the balance is off. Let's put it that way.
yeah yeah, and I can fix that by putting my speakers on the front of my desk, but that's
That'd be a
well
bit silly, wouldn't it?
yeah, I didn't select a walnut desk because of I can put my monitors in front of it. No.
So that is something to consider, the amount of gear that you put on top of the desk.
Yeah.
I
And if you
actually
want
have
to
to,
have it silent.
yeah, no, this is something that actually and you know this, that actually made me doubt my choice. I had a self-built construct on my desk before, which was very heavy and very sturdy, made out of iron tubes. And it would that construct alone was already, I think, 75 kilograms,
Hmm.
just the complete construct. And there were 4 monitors attached to that thing, and then my speakers were also on top of that. So that was a whole monitor mount, speaker mount thing, which was then bolted to the desk, to the actual desktop. And I actually initially I was planning to just move that whole construct to my new desk, and that story, the weight distribution part, actually made me rethink this. And although it would probably have fitted on this desk, I decided to abandon that complete construct, and I bought 2 off-the-shelf monitor arms, and and use it like that. So I do not have my complete collection of monitors on my desk anymore, simply because they were not really useful anyway.
Yeah.
And I reduced it to 2 monitors now, and that's actually fine. It works. It works wonders. So I'm good with that.
Yeah. Do you find, for me, it was, I wanted peace and quiet on my desk. That was one of my main drivers for setting up my desk and making sure that my desk, that it was a standing desk, obviously, but well, it's not tranquil. Just before we started recording, I fiddled around with my camera and USB gear, and nothing works. So my desk is a mess right now. But normally, I
He
make.
actually upped his desk. A lot of the stuff fell down because it wasn't properly attached.
You don't have to tell everything. And I didn't have a disconnection. No, but I wanted to make sure my desk is clean. I'm not so far as a clean desk policy, although I do try to make my desk as clean as possible, that only the stuff I need for my work or my hobby are on my desk. Even when I put a cup on it, like my tea glass, it's on a coaster. I got my keyboard and my mouse on a mouse pad, lttstar.com, not sponsored. Um, so it for me, it's one of those things that makes my desk my desk. It's clean. It's not distracting when I need to do some focus work.
I have to say that having a new desk, which is smaller than the old one, but more practical because the old one was too big. For the audience information, was over 2 meters wide and over 1 meter in depth, but Um, it was slightly curved, so it took up an insane amount of room in my office. And this one is just square, so meaning that I can just put it against the wall and it would not stand off. And it's so much more practical. And even though it's only 20 centimeters in width less, I hardly notice it.
Mm.
So I have two work spots on my desk. The left side is the actual work, and the right side is the sort of private side. Um, and that fitted on the previous desk, and that fits fine on this desk. But I do have to say that ever since I got the new desk and the new the arms and reorganized everything, that it it not only looks neater, but it is neater as well.
Mm.
It's not such a mess as the previous desk was, which was quite often loaded with stuff that really didn't have anything to do on my desk. It could have easily been in a drawer or somewhere else. But
Yeah, but you had the space for it, so you dump
yeah,
it
if
somewhere.
that is actually it. If you've got the space to dump stuff, you'll dump stuff. And you really have to set your mind to, okay, I'm going to make sure that this desk is clean and remains clean.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I try to keep it as clean as possible, though looking at it right now, there is some stuff in on here right now that should not be on here. But for now, it's fine. But yeah, I do need to keep that neat and tidy, and I have to remind myself to do that.
Yeah, but if the desk makes it possible, it's a lot easier. When I close the door, when I stop working, I try to leave my desk clean. I put my tea glass in the kitchen. So my desk, well, actually, there are some bills I need to put in the system, but otherwise, there's only two keyboards on it, two monitors. My mic arm is put away. It makes it also a I'm not going to float much, but it's a welcoming experience when you come in. It's not like, oh man, what a mess. I need to work.
Yeah, well, it's also if clean desk is also or an empty desk is also an empty mind, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when you clean it up and for instance, today's Friday when we record it, I will pull the plug on my work machine in a couple of seconds, and then the desk is well. I'll take my cup away and my notebook, and then the desk is clean. So, but my head is then
Yeah,
empty, and I can safely say my work day is done, and I have nothing more to take out basically with me, and that's also an important thing, right? But coming back to because that is something that you don't need a standing desk for. That's just basically desk
yeah.
policy, not
Every desk.
necessarily a standing desk policy. The only standing desk policy that you really need is make sure your cables are long enough. Otherwise, your stuff will fall down.
How do we know? Yes.
Ask me how I know. When you got your standing desk, how was it delivered to you?
In pieces. I had to assemble it myself.
Yeah, same here. Was that easy?
Pretty much, because I only got two legs.
How much time did it take?
Well, less than 15 minutes, I think.
Okay, that's very very quick.
It,
So maybe because of the four legs, I don't know. But I spent quite a bit of time doing it. Also, maybe it's also because of the sturdiness of the desk and the weight, but it was highly recommended. It was even in the manual. Please do this with two people
yeah, it was for me a cell.
because especially with the two-legged version, it's quite a bit of weight. And if you want to tilt it upright, it is
Heavy.
that's not something that you would very easily do on your own. And what would be a pity, of course, is that your brand new desk gets dragged over the floor and damaged on all sides because, yeah, well, you are too stubborn to ask someone to help you.
You did it with two people then, right?
Yes, my wife actually
Okay.
helped me. So we sat on the floor. We actually turned the desktop upside down. First of all, put a blanket on the floor, put the
Yep.
desktop on the blanket, and then started assembling the legs onto the desktop, and then flipped it around. But I think, although the instructions were quite clear, I think it took us more than 30 minutes to actually assemble everything.
Okay.
And get all the parts and then flip it over and position the desk, etc., etc. So that it was not very long, but it was still quite a job.
Yeah, I think that with all the hardware, without the top, I think it was like 15 minutes. Because it was just two legs and you had to make sure that the center part was wide enough to accommodate the desk
Yeah.
or the top. That was pretty easy. Like the motors were already in place. It was just shove it in the brackets that were there. The only thing I had to do later on was mount some mounting stuff to prevent the adapter falling down, or the controller, because the controller, there was not really a good place for it. So I shoved it
Oh wow.
in
Okay.
between the brackets,
Yeah.
and it's still there.
Okay.
And also the front panel that was I didn't want to drill in my brand new top, so it took me a while to get over that and really mount the control panel onto the
Oh wow.
desk.
Okay. So one of the advantages of ordering all the stuff from Flexispot is that the desktop actually comes pre-drilled.
Oh, nice.
So first of all, I didn't have to think long and hard of what the front side was, because there were two holes there to mount the little control box,
Oh yeah.
and all the where you have to position the legs, and then the whole square bracket to make sure that it doesn't tilt and stuff. It was all pretty much pre-drilled,
Mm.
and everything came out of the package as far assembled as possible. But still, you had to make sure, and they emphasize this in the manual, that everything is exactly in the middle, because otherwise it could tilt to the left or the right or the front or the back.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't want that, because that will destroy the lifting mechanism, and then your desk would be like my previous desk, a sitting
Broken.
desk only, or
Yeah.
maybe a standing desk only. Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Yeah.
But it would definitely not go up and down anymore. So that was a big advantage, was that it was all pre-drilled, so I didn't have to drill anything. Still, the assembly was quite the job, as you had to exactly measure the middle,
Yeah.
because these legs actually allow you also to have an even wider desktop on it, up to, I think they support up to 2 meters and 40 centimeters, I think, in width, and up to a meter in depth. So it's they're quite strong.
Nice.
But you have to make sure that they are really well aligned. Also, because as it are four legs, they really have to be in a square,
Yeah.
or you will have problems.
Yeah. So
But it wasn't that you have to exactly calculate it. It was just, okay, measure that the frame is in the middle, and your legs are on the exact corners, and the pre-drilled holes actually assist you with that, so that, like I said, we were done in, I think, 30. It's a bit more than 30 minutes.
No, that's not too shabby. So you got a desk with 4 legs.
Yes.
I have one with two motors. Do you have 4 motors then, or?
They have 2 models. They've got a 4-legged model with 2 motors and a 4-legged model with 4 motors. I have the latter. So this really has 4 motors. Still, it's silent. So I'll prove it to you. I'll move it to sitting position. Can you hear anything?
A faint peeping sound, but it's very faint. Probably when I'll process the recording, people can't hear it anymore. So
it's really, really silent.
yeah, man, that's cool. Mine, I gotta mute myself when my desk goes down.
So this hardly makes a sound.
Well, I'm not going to do it because I did it earlier. You really need to put it on your mic on mute.
All right. Well,
So
I guess that's all we have to say about standing desks. So, do you have anything to add?
yeah, I was going to ask, how do you do your standing? Because what I did was the very first day, I have a standing desk. I want to stand. I want to stand all day. Well, obviously that's not a good idea.
No.
Because
No, you have to really mix it up. So I try to stand during calls mostly, and I try to at least do stand at once an hour. So what, for instance, happens is that I'm sitting here doing, for instance, emails, and then I've got a call. So I'll put the desk in standing mode, and then I'll do the call, and that runs from 1 hour to the into the next hour. So I have 2 standing moments in both hours, and then I'll go off to do a report again, and I'll put it back in sitting mode, and then it really physically goes up and down throughout the day. I try to move it into standing position 4 times a day. Generally, when I'm on a call where I do not have to really actively write stuff down, because that's annoying. So for presentations, it's wonderful. For just conversations, it's wonderful. If you really have to actively write a lot of stuff, I find it personally, but that's again my feeling. I would rather have it in the sitting position so that I can write while I'm sitting. That feels more comfortable, more natural. But maybe it's also a getting used to write stuff down while standing. Why not?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I think I only do my writing or typing sitting down. When I'm with a colleague in a call, then we decide which one is going to write or and talk. When I talk, it's probably a flaw, but when I talk and think about it, I cannot write it down, or vice versa. So I want to be in the moment. I'm discussing something, and writing that down takes me out of that flow, and it's easier that a colleague writes it down then.
Yeah.
So those sessions I tend to stand. When I have a session where I need to write a lot of action points, then I sit down.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and when I only need to listen and not even have my camera on, then I'm on my treadmill.
Oh, that's even a possibility. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, why not?
yeah. It's something between standing and sitting. You're moving your body, and you're still into the conversation. I
Indeed.
had some remarks. Don't put your camera on. I'm getting nauseous, but yeah, yeah, exactly. Like a camel.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right.
All right. Since we're sitting down again, that was on the standing desk. Hey, we didn't talk about it. We did a proper preparation for this meeting. So, do you have any tips for the listeners or viewers?
Do I have any tips? Um, well, let me think about that for a second. Maybe you can can jump in.
Darn, I was just trying to think something. Well, my tip is when you need something glow in the dark, use filament. No, just kidding. I started using my camera as a webcam, and it's pretty good, but you have to make sure that when you're in a call, everything's working, everything is in focus, and don't touch your stuff. Otherwise,
Test before use.
yes, well, obviously, always test before use. Well, that's my tip. I can imagine more and think of something more, but I think that's the one for this week. I don't want to spoil it for next week.
Okay, well, I do have one tip, but I think we will make that one into a topic as well.
Oh,
And that is actually the configuration that I'm using right now
yeah.
consists of a laptop with an external graphics card,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm using an external case where I currently have a GeForce 1070 Ti installed into it,
Yeah.
which is then connected through a little Thunderbolt cable to my to my laptop. Sorry, meaning that I have desktop graphics on my laptop until that moment when I unplug it, and then I just have my laptop. But the advantage of that is I actually now have proper graphics acceleration, which is an insane advantage when you 3D design, when you want to play a little game, when you want to, I don't know, do a video recording like now, because the graphics card is now in a 20% load and I'm noticing nothing
Mm,
basically on my system. So it's really, really working well. Now, these things tend to be quite expensive if you buy them completely assembled off the shelf. But our friends over at AliExpress have a very nice version that is only 130 bucks.
okay.
And the only thing you have to add to it is a PC power supply,
Nice.
and graphics card, obviously.
Yeah.
But so my setup over here, as I just described it, has the 130 euros or 130 bucks main board. It has a Sonic, not sponsored, power supply on it of 650 watts. And I bought the 1070 Ti on a local website, used for 110 euros. So the
Okay.
whole setup was under 300. And generally, if you buy a full Thunderbolt 3/4 enclosure, only the enclosure already costs 350, 400 euros. And then you still have to buy the additional graphics card.
Mm,
One disadvantage, though, this is all open. So you actually see the card and you see all the moving parts, etc., etc. The board is nicely covered, so that's no problem. But yeah, it's basically open tech. You can get a cover for it also on AliExpress for roughly about $100. But I don't know if I'm going to do that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I can also 3D print one, but I haven't seen a pretty one.
Hmm.
The ones that I did see were quite ugly. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that. Um, so I may order one off of AliExpress as well. But for now, this setup is quite wonderful. So if you have a laptop and you're not happy with the graphics that it produces, so it has an onboard graphics card that sucks, and maybe it has a discrete graphics chip on it. So, some higher performance laptops do have that, but it's a mobile version and it's a bit dated. So your laptop is maybe 2, 3, 4 years old, and you want to play a modern game, this might be a way to go. It works wonderfully with Windows, but apparently I haven't tried that yet. But it will also work wonderfully with macOS,
Probably not.
depending on the graphics card.
No, yeah, depending on if there's a driver available on the Mac, because video drivers don't are supported anymore on the newer Macs.
So I did notice a couple of people who actually have this made this setup with a MacBook and worked wonderfully.
Okay.
But I haven't tried mine yet. I don't have. Well, actually, I do have an M2, I think, 11 MacBook. But I also have an Intel MacBook, so maybe I'll try both of them. But that may be food for another episode.
Yeah, I was just going to say, please let me know. I'm very curious if I can just buy something like that or the new Mac Mini M4 Pro. I probably won't wait until the episode, but so. Yeah, but cool, man.
Yeah. So on that bombshell,
Thanks for watching, listening. I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
See you next time.